Thinking of playing Boots and Saddles from the Assault series, Tactical Combat in the 80s. This is Introductory Scenario B. So this Introductory Scenario B is all about bringing in artillery fire and smoke. So at the start of this play session here, all sorts of questions. If these infantry units, these U.S. infantry units, move forward into the wood line here, after which they can see beyond, they can see all of this over here. I guess the town there would block about there, and it's probably about the wood line there, but all of this, the dismounted infantry there, should be able to observe, and then can they call for fire? I guess again, for the introductory scenario B here, we're mostly looking at this M106 right there. M106, it's a section because of the white writing. It's here behind this wood line. All right, lots of questions. So if the M106 moves into the wood line there, can they observe out of the wood line? You would think that they can, because that's kind of a standard for observation in hex and counter war games. Can they fire out of the woods? I think the Assault series, I can already guess, is going to be, if it doesn't say you can't, I guess you can. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, especially at this scale and scope. Now it makes a difference because they could stay back here behind the wood line and fire per the observation of another unit, which I guess if it's a headquarters unit, there's going to be a delay of 1. Any other U.S. units can be a delay of 2. What does that mean? We have our headquarters right here that is just moved over here in this wood line here. With 2 platoons, so there's our headquarters right there. So I guess the headquarters could observe for the M106 with a 1 delay, or the infantry, for example, could move forward, observe for the M106 with a delay of 2. What does all that mean? Delay of 1 or 2, 1 or 2 what? And then I guess again on the US side, I guess we're just looking at the 4.2 inch mortar on a track. Again, what do all these mean? So if it's a section, it's 1 step. It looks like, I mean, just reading this without looking into any detail, it looks like this M106 can fire HE or incendiary smoke. So what is HE from a 4.2 inch mortar going to do against, well, BMPs right there, or the T-64s there, and then incendiary smoke? Does that mean that it's a viable tactic here to maybe drop some incendiary smoke maybe here? That's chemical smoke. So maybe drop incendiary smoke that blocks the Russians seeing through the smoke, but the M1s can see through the incendiary smoke and still shoot up the Soviets. I don't know. I'm going to take a look at that. So, and finally, we have our mission record, fire mission record here. This is a photocopy of the play aid that comes. Actually, I guess I can't say which one this came with. I'll assume this came with Boots and Saddles. So we got turn units hex ammo M question mark number value turn units hex. Okay, so we have duplications here. All right, how do we do all this? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and review some stuff since it has to do mostly with artillery and indirect fire. All right, so this is obviously the Soviet side. It is the first, well, it's the Soviet player turn. It is game turn 3, but not sure that means much anymore, right? Okay, so artillery phase is always first in the player turn. And we have 4 main steps. So we're going to record fire missions. Okay, so I want to record a fire mission. How do I do that? Obviously, I'm thinking the OP observation post up here on the high ground that I got up here. I just realized in the movement phase, I guess that they should just go into cover, should be free. So the OP, as you would imagine, is self-ordering. That's what the asterisk in the top right there means. It's self-ordering. That makes sense. Units that are independent by doctrine are self-ordering. And by the way, I want to point this out. I guess the vehicle can't go into cover because it's still in move formation. Okay, anyway, this is very interesting. The difference here. So we have, at first it looks like, aren't they just infantry? They are infantry, but they're actually quite different. So the Russian infantry on the left here, the P-L is in black lettering, so this is a 2-step platoon. The American infantry on the right, again, because these are, I'm assuming these are cavalrymen, scouts maybe. They are, I wonder if the game material actually distinguishes that. I don't know. Anyways, they're different kinds of infantry because they are one-step units, so they're a section, and they also have the asterisk. So basically, the Soviet infantry in our little fight here are normal units that have to be ordered. That's bad terminology, but you have to use an operations point with them. Whereas the American infantry is quite a bit more flexible because they're self-ordering. Of course, they're also one step, but they are self-ordering. Okay. So I'm thinking, I want my observation post to call for fire. Okay, so the question is, if the OP can call for fire, they want to do something way out there. Who are they calling? Who are they calling for fire? And we have our mortar platoons here that we moved up. Our mortar platoons here are M43 mortar platoons that we moved up and had dismount and set up right there. So at first I'm thinking, okay, the OP calls to the mortars. Okay. Then I remember, wait a minute. What's the whole deal with the deployment thing? Deployed pieces here. What's going on here? So in the rules, deployment in order to conduct indirect fire or to be given a fire mission. So even to be given a fire mission. So it's our mortars can't fire because they must be deployed, and they cannot even receive a mission. It'd be nice if the OP could send a mission and that clock starts at the same time that, or I should say before the unit's actually, in game terms, eligible to fire. But no, okay, so to fire they have to be deployed. They have to be deployed. After all indirect, so then, okay, I'm saying, okay, well, I want to deploy my mortar platoons. Actually, deploy artillery units is the last step of the artillery phase. So it's basically after record fire missions. So just to point out, My OP is ready to go. They want to call a fire mission. Mortars are not ready. Okay, so there is no record fire mission. So then the second of the 4 steps for the artillery phase is adjust smoke markers. Okay, from previous turn. Then the step 3 is resolve indirect fire, and then finally is deploy artillery units. So now can I deploy the mortar platoons? So after all indirect fire in the friendly artillery phase has been resolved, the player may have any indirect fire units deploy. This is done by placing a deployed marker under the unit. I kind of like them on top, but anyways, it says under. A unit must be in combat formation when it deploys. So that means and then this is important for timing in all this play, they cannot even be deployed now, because again, this is the artillery phase is at the start of the turn, but deploying artillery units is at the end of the artillery phase. They cannot be deployed because at the start of this turn, they were not in combat formation. They were not no, I'm sorry. They were in combat. They were in combat formation. A unit must be in combat formation when it deploys. Okay, so I take that back. Actually, they can deploy. Okay, so they're deploying now in the deploy artillery units step. I misread that. Okay, so then okay, and that was my question. Units that are deployed may go into cover. Okay, so then that's the end of the Soviet artillery phase. We were not able to record a fire mission because the units were not deployed. At the end of this phase, they deployed. Now for the next turn, player turn, they'll be ready. Okay, so then we go on to the movement phase, and here's our headquarters. There's the headquarters. They have the 2 operations points to spend. What they did is they used one in visual contact with the mortar platoon. They went into cover. That's one. And then they used the second one to have the infantry platoons here move forward 1 hex in combat formation. They're in visual contact. The headquarters, I marked it. I'm marking it. I'm just for the time being using the dummy marker since I'm playing solitaire. There are no dummy markers in play, so I'll use the arrow there, a dummy marker arrow, to show that they have moved here in the first movement phase of the turn. Wow, this is a bad day for me. No, they cannot enter cover. I don't know why I saw that little word, did not see. Yikes. Indirect fire units which are deployed may not move. They may not enter cover, entrench, mount, or dismount, or change formation or facing. I thought it said they may. No, they may not enter. All right, so actually the headquarters didn't need to use an operations point there. So they will use the well, they might. They're just not even going to spend that second operations point, or